Have you ever opened up Instagram and felt like, man, I know I need to post on my stories today, but I really don't know what to talk about? What do the people want to hear from me? If that sounds familiar to you, then you're in the right place. Make sure you keep on watching because today I'm going to share 10 ideas for Instagram story content when you have no idea what to post. Let's get started. I feel like this is such a common issue. I know I've definitely been in that position where I know I've got to post something to my stories, but I'm like, what is even interesting? What would people engage with? What is worthwhile posting? And so I went back through my archive of stories and reflected on what has been the most engaging to people, what has gotten the most story views, and then I've come up with a list of 10 prompts that you can use if you find yourself in the same position that I have been. Just a quick background on Instagram stories and how the algorithm works around that. I feel like this area is a little bit more ambiguous to a lot of people. We have a really clear understanding of feed posts and how they're distributed, but how do stories work? For a while, it seemed that they were very chronological, and it is still somewhat in chronological order, but with a slight twist. I really think that Instagram is showing stories based on how engaging they are. Let's just think about this logically, right? I'm following like 400 or so people. I definitely don't see all of their Instagram stories in a given day, and Instagram prioritizes them, I believe, in the order that they think I'm most likely to watch them in. So if there's somebody whose story I skip through every single day, eventually I'm not going to see their story anymore. And here's how you can test this. You might just be thinking, oh, there's somebody that I used to see the stories of all the time, and I haven't seen their story in a long time. Maybe they just stopped posting stories. Well, go into Instagram, tap on the number of people that you're following, and Instagram will show you your least interacted with people and your most shown in feed. If you go into the least interacted with, you will see there are lots of people in that list who have that little story circle around their name. You can go to their profile and see that they have posted stories, and it's just that Instagram has learned they don't keep you on the app, so they've stopped showing you those stories. Quick note from editing Katie. I wanted to test this out to see if my theory was definitely true, and I can confirm that it is. Instagram stories is not 100% chronological. I went to my list of following and I found somebody that is at the top of my least interacted with list. So Brandon Waffle is a photographer who I follow, but I don't interact with a lot. So I scrolled all the way to the end of my stories because I don't know if you're like me, but I never watch all of my Instagram stories. So I go to the place where all of the circles end, and it ends up being ones that I've watched before. Here are ones I have not watched before, and Brandon Waffles was there. So his story still ends up in my list, it's just at the very end. So then I popped into some other stories that were near the end of the list, and I found some that said 1 hour ago. Okay, so that story was from 1 hour ago. So then I go to the very beginning of my story list to the people that I supposedly engage with more often, and I see posts from, say, Bright Trip, which is an account that I engage with more, and it is from 3 hours ago. So that content is less recent, but it is further up in my story feed because Instagram knows I'm more likely to engage with it. So, case closed. Instagram stories are not 100% chronological. They are just chronological-ish. Okay, science. Okay, so why am I telling you all of this? Basically, the point of that little spiel is that there is strategy to Instagram stories. You want to make sure that you're creating engaging content because the more people engage with your story, you'll notice likely the higher your story views are. I've definitely seen this correlation. If within the first hour or two of me posting an Instagram story, I get like a dozen or so DM responses, I know that that story is going to get over 1,000 views because it's really engaging. And by the end of the 24-hour span, that is how many views it will have. Instagram is constantly testing content, seeing if it's worthy of showing it to more people, and if it is, they will show it to more people. So that is why using prompts like this is really gonna help you create some seriously value-packed and interesting stories, and ultimately that is gonna get you more reach. Okay, now that algorithm rant is over, let's talk about the 10 ideas. I just wanted to let you know what the background is behind it and why you don't wanna just post complete junk to your Instagram story for the sake of putting something on your story. Just because it's new doesn't mean people are gonna see it, so we wanna make sure that it is engaging as well. The first idea for an Instagram story post is to share the step-by-step process of an activity that you do in your daily life. Do you have a special ritual for making your morning coffee? How do you create your to-do list every day? What's your process for putting together the perfect outfit? Whatever it is, whatever is applicable to your niche, share the step-by-step process in like several slides. You don't have to fit it all into one 15-second clip. You can definitely do 3 to 4 videos or photos or a combination of both in a row to share that step-by-step process. This way you're providing value to somebody who might want to do the same process as you, and you're letting people into your personality through the way that you explain it or show it in a visual way. So think of something that you do every day that is just a part of your life, and think about how you can break it down into maybe 3 to 5 really easy steps, and then show those steps on Instagram. I've done this before by making a really quick video about how I make my matcha. Even though that is totally unrelated to my niche of social media marketing, it's still a little insight into my life, and it's a little visually different than what people are used to seeing on my story, and so it stands out and it engages them. The second idea for a story is to talk about a product or a service that you couldn't live without. This is a great time to shout out a fellow business owner or talk about a product that you have an affiliate link for. Another way that you can monetize your Instagram audience. Whatever it is, make sure that it is totally genuine and it actually is something that you love and couldn't live without. Think about how it might be useful to your followers too. I think that's something that we often leave out when we're thinking about our stories. We just think about, what can I share? What can I say? But if you think about it in a way of, how can I provide value to my followers today? That'll give you a better frame of mind for coming up with content that is going to really be engaging and then therefore have better reach. So think about what you might be able to recommend to make the lives of your followers just a little bit easier. And if you have a swipe up link for it, even better. Number 3, share a way that you take care of yourself, that you make yourself more productive, and how it might be able to help the people that you follow. Do you have a self-care routine or a strict routine around your working hours that makes you more productive and helps you be more effective in your day? Then share it with your followers because they might be able to implement it. It could be helpful for them too. Recently, I shared on my Instagram story how I create a to-do list that only has 3 items, just 3 priorities that I absolutely need to finish by the end of the day. And that's how I make sure that I stay productive, but I also go easy on myself and don't give myself like a mile-long to-do list. This is exactly the kind of thing that you can share on your Instagram story because it gives a little bit of an insight into the behind the scenes of your day-to-day life, but it also provides valued information for the people who are following you. So if you have a productivity or a self-care tip that you could share, put it in a story. Number 4, share a book, movie, TV show, or video game that you have absolutely been loving. This can be totally unrelated to your niche. I think this is a really great place to just let your personality shine through and find other common ground with your followers. Here's the thing about Instagram. It is a very personal platform, and if you want people to feel super close and connected with you, a really great way to do that is to find common ground. So outside of whatever you offer in your typical niche, if you can find that you and your followers enjoy the same kind of books or the same kind of movies or the same kind of music, then that is another really great level to connect on, which is just going to make that relationship feel even more close. So give yourself a chance, maybe even once a week, to throw something out there and say, hey, this is a book I've been loving, or hey, this is a movie that I watched last weekend. And if people connect with that, then they'll be like, oh, Katie also loves Harry Potter. Like, awesome, we're basically best friends now. And that's the kind of effect that you can have when you share common interests, even over something as simple as a Netflix show. Speaking of that, I would actually love to hear from you guys what you're watching on Netflix these days, because we know quarantine life is wearing on, and I just finished watching the Looking for Alaska miniseries. I love John Green. And I would love to know what you guys have been watching on Netflix or Disney Plus or wherever you choose to consume TV. Let me know in the comments so I can go check it out. And what I just did there is a great example of number 5, which is ask for recommendations. Put it out there on your Instagram story. Ask people what media you should check out. What are their favorite books? What Instagram creators are they loving? Whatever it is that you are genuinely interested in, put it out there, throw a question box there, or ask people to DM you. This is a great and honest way to generate engagement with your followers. And then also it cycles back into the previous tip, because if you really enjoy what one of your followers has recommended to you, it gives you a chance to connect with them on a more deep level. So ask for recommendations from your followers, and I'm sure you'll be surprised at the cool stuff that they'll be able to suggest to you. Number 6, post a time lapse of you doing something in your average workday. I think this is a really fun one because it's slightly unique and different compared to what you normally see on Instagram stories, but it's also super easy to do. All you have to do, if you have an iPhone, is open up your camera roll and slide across the bottom until you see the time lapse option, and then you just set up your phone looking at whatever task you're doing and press record. And then in 2 or 3 minutes you can stop the recording and you'll have a quick, probably 15-second time lapse of whatever it is you were working on that day. It's fun, it catches people's eyes because not a lot of people are posting time lapses on their Instagram story, and it gives a cool insight into what you're working on and what your work process looks like. So often with our followers, they see the final product, whether it's our YouTube videos, blog posts, podcasts, client work. This gives another more unpolished look at it so people can get a sense that they know you more, they know your process, and they know how you work. Plus, I just think it looks really cool. So record yourself a time lapse. Number 7, you can give your followers a behind the scenes tour of your workspace, whether it's just your laptop set up on your kitchen table or a full desk tour or office tour if you're really fancy. It's a really great behind the scenes look, and people always love to know where other people spend their time. So if you wanted to do a full house or apartment tour, that could be cool too. Or if it's for your business and you're trying to keep it more professional, you can show your workspace. Again, it's just another view that we're not as used to seeing, and it gives that more personal connection because it might be like, oh, I love your decor style, or oh, I also use that notebook. Whatever connection points you can generate between you and your followers, it's just going to help you deepen that relationship. Number 8 is a little bit more abstract, but I think sometimes it creates the best content, and that is share one of your shower thoughts or one of those random thoughts that you sit and you kind of reflect on and you're like, yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Share that on your Instagram story. People love an inside look at what you're thinking about, and most likely your followers will be thinking about the same kind of stuff. So don't be afraid to share some of those deeper, more vulnerable, sort of reflective thoughts, because it is probably what other people are thinking about too, and I'm sure they'll appreciate to relate to you and know that other people are struggling with the same things or thinking about the same things. One other tip I want to share at this point before I jump into the next one, because I think that this applies to all of them, and it's just so important. When you are recording your Instagram stories, I really want you to jump right into the story. Don't give an introduction. If we think about the way that we used to write essays in high school and university, we have our introduction, our 3 body paragraphs, and our conclusion. And I want to encourage you to skip the introduction. Way too many people start their Instagram story with, hey, happy Monday. I just wanted to jump on here and tell you guys, and then they get into what they want to talk about. That's like a full 7 seconds of completely uselessness. There's no information in that. It's honestly just a waste of time, and the majority of people will have already skipped past your story by the time you actually get into the good stuff. And trust me, I am definitely guilty of this too. It can feel awkward when you're first getting started with talking to the camera. You feel like you need to start it like a phone call, or like you're leaving a message on somebody's voicemail, like, hey, just wanted to call to let you know. No, you don't have to do that. Get right into the good stuff, because that's how it's going to be most engaging, and that's what people are coming there for anyway. They aren't coming to hear you say happy Tuesday for like the 17th time. I'm not calling anyone out. Honestly, I'm calling myself out, because I have definitely been known to do that when I'm like, what should I say? I guess I'll just start recording. But have a sense of what you want to say and get right to the good stuff, because that is how it's going to be more engaging. And trust me, when I realized that and I started to switch to dive straight into the content, I really noticed an increase in my story views because people weren't clicking away from them. So Instagram was starting to recommend them to more people. So definitely apply that to all of the different story prompts I've given you. Just get straight to the point. It's so important. The 9th idea I have for you when you don't know what to post is to reintroduce yourself and give 3 facts about yourself that your followers might not know. The nature of Instagram is that new people are finding us all the time. There's always going to be somebody new that doesn't really know that much about you. So feel free, like every couple months, maybe like once a quarter, so like once every 3 months or so, do a little introducing me style Instagram story where you talk about who you are, what you do, and then 3 fun facts about yourself that your followers might not know. Then that's a great time to actually add that to a highlight on your profile that's called Get to Know Me or Welcome Here or Start Here or something like that. So the people who are new to your profile can click there and get a bit of a rundown of who you are when they start following you. So keep that up to date. Do it every couple months, and it's a good way to add a little bit something different to your story and get people reacquainted to you. And my 10th idea for you when you have no idea what else to post is to share something that you learned this week. Maybe it's something that you learned from reading an article online, from watching a documentary on Netflix, or it's just something that you learned about yourself through a challenge that you overcame. Whatever it might be, share that with your followers. Again, dive right into the story, don't give any introduction, and just speak from the heart, because that's really what connects with people, and I'm sure there are going to be people watching who will take something away from it. Now that you've got 10 fun ideas for content you can post on your Instagram story, check out this video I made about my daily Instagram story routine and how I space out my content and vary it so that I can make sure I'm optimizing my engagement and therefore reach on my stories. You aren't going to want to miss this one, so make sure you check it out next. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in that video. Okay, bye!